So this is my good friend, Yan Changshou, Mr. Stanley Yan.
Hi.
And
It is nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
he plays a very important role as a traveler ambassador in Taiwan.
I know he's been president of many associations bringing tourists here, so very happy that you took the time to meet with us.
Well, it's my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Could you answer a little bit about your philosophy of life and how that relates to the people of Taiwan?
Well, actually, I grew up myself in an environment which Taiwan was relatively poor at that time. And I haven't even been having the opportunity to go to university. I went from a messenger of American Express and become the country manager for the American Express. Then I become a hotelier. I think Taiwan is in a very similar situation. We started in a relatively poor island where the immigrant from mainland China come here about 300 some years ago. And once this island was occupied by Dutch, and then later was taken over by Japan. Out of the last, say, 50 years, 60 years, Taiwan find its way up. I think one of the very important things is that we inherited a lot of culture from mainland China and be able to develop to some of the newer cultures that blend in with a little bit of Japanese and a little bit of Dutch, okay, and a little bit of Aboriginal culture over here. But even more important for the entire Chinese community, Taiwan is the lighthouse or the representative, not necessarily from its economic progress, but also from democracy experience we have. And truly Taiwan is now one of the democratic countries among the world now, which is certainly show a great influence to Greater China.
Rachel, have you checked out my friend's book?
I tried to earlier, but it's in Mandarin, and I'm not that good yet. Can't even speak it. So, but I know it's called An Angel to Yourself and Others, and it's a #1 seller in Taiwan right now in both categories, which is unheard of in history. So, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, actually, it's like any young people in the world. This world is now so flat. There's no more boundaries. Young people in Taiwan today have no problem getting into university. But what they have to face the reality is when they get out from university. I mean, they just realize sometimes their job is not taken away by your classmate. Your job is not taken away by your countrymen. Your job may be taken away by somebody in India or someone in China or somewhere in Iceland. So I'm trying to tell young people, be more alert about the situation and not only to know yourself, but to be able to also analyze yourself. What is your strengths and your weakness? But even more important is in your life, you have to have passions. You have to know what is the true meaning of your work, what is the purpose of working, and most important is what is the real purpose of your life. Okay, and being an angel to yourself, certainly trying to encourage young people sometimes by a way of mind changing, you'll be able to become a more positive person. And also again, by a proper direction of your purpose of your life, you'll be the angel to others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I understand that you helped a little bit with the new saying, Taiwan will touch your heart. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think Taiwan is such a unique place, but many foreign visitors who stay here long enough will always say this is one of a hidden city or undiscovered secret, is one of the most livable city in the world. But in reality, it's besides all these export products, very few people know what truly Taiwan have. I think it's not probably from only the sceneries. It's a food, it's a culture, and even more important is the people. I think we have a lot of people who is willing to touch people's heart because they believe what we have. We have inherited the Chinese cultures, okay, and blended into our new lifestyle. Taiwan people is now travel all over the place. We have some religious group. It's so powerful now. For instance, like this time, the Sichuan incident. Taiwan is one of the very first group is trying to show their hand and willing to help. And this is happening to almost every incident in the world today. Which this would not happen if you go back to 20 some years ago when you economically are not even strong. But I think it's more than money. It's a passion. It's a heart. And the willingness of reaching out people, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about why people should visit Taiwan, what makes it special and unique, a little bit more on what you've already said?
I think if anybody interested about culture in Asia, I think Taiwan is a destination you cannot miss. Okay, not only because of its uniqueness of its Chinese culture, I think probably one of the safest country in the world. You can learn Zen, you can learn Buddhism, you can learn tea, and you can learn Tai Chi and meditations. All these are very accessible. And we have some very important religious leaders who actually influences this country a lot. So obviously, not only talking about the religious side of it, a lot of this practice is now used even in America as a retreat center, as a way of how to do meditation for yourself.
And can you tell us a little bit about how food contributes to making Taiwan very special and unique?
Yeah. You know, it's probably the first time in Chinese history after the retreat of Chiang Kai-shek from mainland China. During the China time, every province have its own cuisine. It's like Sichuan, Hunan, Shandong, Canton, Beijing, Shanghai. But this is the first time suddenly you bring every chef to Taiwan and they become neighbor to each other. Even more important, in the past, most of the good chefs, there are two types of cuisines. One is the street cookings. Okay, it's like most of North America where you have the egg foo young, you have spring roll, you have chopped suey. It's a traditional family way of cooking. But if you're really talking about fine dining, it's only available in noble house and noble family. And noble family usually they don't entertain outside. They have their own chef. But when they come to Taiwan, most of these noble family cannot afford to hire a chef anymore. So all their house chefs turn out to be on the street, and they end up to be a restaurant owners themselves. So suddenly all the chefs start open their eyes and to be able to steal ideas from each other. Very much like North America. You know, America before do not have food culture. But today, you start to take everybody's cultures into yourself. It's blend into your own culture now. Today, American chef will create some Japanese dish and with American taste, and that becomes something very unique. To the certain extent, Taiwan is playing the same role in this part of the world.
And can you tell us a little bit about how culture plays a role in this and the relationship between food and culture and people, and how Taiwan is a perfect blend of all three?
You want to go to a country, I mean, you will feel safe, you feel comfortable, and the most important, you feel welcomed. And Taiwan will be able to give you this all. If you have enough time, I mean, this is not a place for you to just go to one city and looking at a particular things. Of course, we do have it. We have National Palace Museum, but I think for anybody go to a place, food plays a very important role. And we have all variety of food, and the people plays an important role. And then, of course, the cultures.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us. We
My
enjoyed
pleasure.
dinner, and we enjoyed meeting you.
I hope you have a very good time in Taiwan.
Thank you. We'll see you on our next trip.
I hope so too. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking out the time.
Thank you.